My name's Guinevere, and I'm a poet from Swansea, originally from Grimsby.
And congratulations on this award here today. What first started you writing poetry?
I wrote from early childhood, really fascination with short stories and describing new worlds, I suppose as a form of escapism and just the joy really of where the imagination can take one.
And then from short stories and prose and narrative form, it's a disciplined leap to poetry. What brought you to poetry?
I was inspired by Sylvia Plath and the Beat Poets, and I think I found a truth and a rawness in poetry that was quite liberating, and it took me into a phase in my early teens where I had a lot of benefit really from exploring poetry and my personal experiences.
And I'm going to be very literary. Robert Graves said he'd as much prefer to write prose as play tennis without a net. Is the discipline of rhyme and rhythm part of the guidance, as it were, of writer and reader?
So with the poetry, there's always the cadence of language that entices me. I believe that language is naturally rhythmic and naturally exciting, and obviously rhyme exists whether we're writing a poem or not, but capturing it is an art, and capturing it in a way that isn't cliche as well is really important to me. So perhaps I wouldn't always do end rhyme, but there might be rhyme threaded through a stanza in the middle of a sentence.
What made you enter this competition?
So I entered the Hammond House Poetry Competition for the second time. 2 years ago, I was highly commended in the poetry category, and I just found the whole organisation and the festival to be so encouraging and so supportive. And as a Grimsby girl coming home to an award, it was really one of the highlights of my literary career. So I was like, right, let's just give it another whirl then. And I saw the time category, and it really seemed to resonate with the poem I'd written about my mother's death. And I just about made the midnight deadline, so time was certainly pressing when I went to do the submission and got it through the door.
And how do you feel about this glorious result?
So winning the poetry category, sponsored by the Royal Society of Arts, is truly the peak of my literary career thus far, alongside setting up a poetry community interest company in my local area in Swansea. The win is the result of many, many years of hard work, but dedicated, inspired work as well. I have done a Bachelor of Arts degree with creative writing modules and an MA in creative writing, and I completed a PhD in poetics and creative writing it's from Swansea University a couple of years ago. So this really does feel deserved. I've worked very hard, and of course I was shocked and very much aware that these things are often down to chance, hitting the midnight deadline or the personal taste of the judges. Who's to say what was highly commended or a third or a second prize, isn't also deserving of a win. But I think having the opportunity to be a fellow with the Royal Society of Arts off the back of this win and the social impact that they are interested in developing through their work, it really resonates with where I'm at as a community artist.
You mentioned the community. You're a Grimsby girl. What took you off to South Wales?
So I ended up in South Wales, having spent a lot of time studying in big cities in London and Manchester. And my mother grew up in Milford Haven. So as a child, we were often taken to the Pembrokeshire coast for holidays. And I just remember having beautiful memories of that area of Wales and the world. So when I had a choice of where I wanted to live, I chose to go to West Wales, and have since shimmied along to Swansea to develop my poetry career and to raise my son in what is a beautiful part of the world.
I read your poem, The Winning End of Ma, and it sort of reminds me of W.B. Yeats in a way, in that it makes reference to different previous work. I mean, it's not modernist in that it has respect for it mentions Narcissus and Hero, it mentions the Pre-Raphaelites, it has words like Vatic.
Yes.
This is clearly, you said you'd done that PhD, this is a field of reference behind this.
Yes. So the Ma poem draws on the history background of my mother. So she was a history teacher, and she had a fascination with the history of art, but culture and war, and she had a passion for sharing that with me as a child, the arts, opera, ballet. And it was important in this elegy to celebrate what she gave to me and passed on through her interest in culture and the arts.